We've known for a while that Donald Trump is very insecure about his size, the size of his crowds at his events. And after Trump's inauguration, the National Park Service, you might remember, tweeted the side-by-side picture comparing Trump's 2017 crowd and Obama's 2009 crowd, which, of course, the Obama crowd on the left here, if you're watching with us, and the Trump crowd on the right. And in response, on Inauguration Day, the Trump administration got the National Park Service to delete the tweet, and they told them and the entire Department of the Interior to immediately stop using Twitter. And this raised legitimate safety concerns because the National Park Service and the Department of the Interior use Twitter to post emergency messages to park visitors and to communicate other breaking news of breaking importance. But the White House's first priority was get rid of the tweet, temporarily shut down those accounts at all costs. The next day, presumably because of the Trump administration's intervention, the National Park Service actually tweeted an apology. And that apology said, "We regret the mistaken retweets from our account yesterday and look forward to continuing to share the beauty and history of our parks with you." That we knew, okay? What we have now learned, the news is that according to emails released through a Freedom of Information Act request, Donald Trump was personally and directly involved in trying to hunt down the person, the specific person at the National Park Service who was responsible for tweeting and retweeting those photos. One of the emails between the head of social media at the Park Service and their head of IT reads, quote, "This has become a very sensitive issue, especially since the president has gotten directly involved and contacted acting director Mike Reynolds, concerned about one of the images that was retweeted." They were reporting historical facts about important events called inaugurations held at a national park. And it was almost by definition a witch hunt, sans the literal witches, with Donald Trump involved, trying to figure out who the individual responsible was. Trump should get to the bottom of a lot of tweets, but they're mostly his own tweets that we need to be figuring out what's going on with.
And imagine if you were just inaugurated as president and the learning curve that you'd be facing, the amount of responsibilities you'd have to take over.
Right.
This would be in the back of your mind. This is such a trivial thing. Why is he drawing so much attention to this in his first few days in office?
First and second day in office. And this is what Donald Trump was worried about, making phone calls and wondering what individual had the audacity to retweet historically accurate pictures about an event that took place at a national park.
And the thing is that Barack Obama's 2009 inauguration was the first inauguration of a black president, so people went there also to witness history more so than just to support their candidate.
Sure.
Donald Trump didn't have that same draw.
And not to mention, I mean, I think that Donald Trump's inauguration might end up being historic. We'll know in a couple hundred years if it was a turning point of sorts and a turning point for the worse in the United States. But yeah, you're completely right that it's not even necessarily something to feel bad about. If you're Trump, you've got plenty to feel bad about already. The man with the nuclear codes was spending time in the hours after being sworn in trying to figure out who tweeted inauguration pictures, and that should really scare all of us. Today's program is sponsored in part by Tagadab, the hosting specialists who do dedicated VPS and cloud server options. One of the great things about Tagadab is that their customer service is sort of their forte. 70% of their business comes from repeat orders as well as from recommendations from existing customers. And if you look them up on Trustpilot, you'll see that their rating is 9.7 out of 10, which is excellent. They're also offering, for those interested in exploring moving their business or their project or website to the cloud, a £10 free credit to all new customers that sign up at our link, which is signup.tagadab.com/TDPS. That is signup.tagadab.com/TDPS. Check it out, support our sponsors, and support the David Pakman Show by doing so.